All right, we're back on another episode of Salient Points. It's been a couple weeks, like 3 weeks, I think. This one's Salient Points number 75 for July 19th, 2022. I'm Carlos Macias, your master of ceremonies here. Dalan Kirkwood from up in the mountains. Thank you for joining us, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, you're doing all right over there, shaking the screen
It's
already.
Monday.
So, I mean,
It's
it is the
Monday.
case of the Mondays. How you feeling like Garfield out there, Dalan? Maybe a little
Who's
lasagna
that?
will lift your spirits or something. Uh,
You mean Garfield the cat? I'm like, what? Who are you talking about?
how
You know
many?
any other
Yeah, how
Garfield?
many Garfields would I be referencing, dude? It's like the one.
Oh,
Mm.
I
And
don't
we
know. I
starting
mean,
off
it's Monday.
correct.
I don't know. I don't know right now.
It's a lot of
You
pain
asked the wrong
happening in Dale's
person.
life. Luis Mendez on the wheels of steel. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Yeah, I guess it's like riding a bike, huh? Just back into it.
We're just back into it. We had a little 4th of July I think just the timing of when we do the show, right? And 4th of July hit like on a Tuesday or Monday. And we're like, there is no chance we put the podcast together on that Monday, celebrating the good old US of A. I had a test last week, so I was definitely like, I gotta crunch. I guess I'm a cruncher or whatever.
So everything got canceled.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening, but we're back. I don't think there's any holidays or nothing crazy coming up anytime soon, so I think we'll be all right. We'll be entertaining you guys.
Labor Day.
Dalan, so before we went off on our little hiatus, though, you did kind of, put your foot in your mouth a little bit as far as like, yeah, Destiny had an undercover person. They were there, they were not. I was going to let it go. Even though I looked at it, I was like, damn, we're gonna have to correct the record on it. And we were close, Dalan. We're very, very close to just letting it go. But thank you very much, Matthew Gonzalez. He decided to bring it up, and we're gonna just read out his comment on YouTube.com. All that, by the way, YouTube.com, WeGotComs.com. Go to YouTube, click like, subscribe, all that stuff. Put a comment in, and we'll definitely bring it up like this. I appreciate this one, like we said before. If you're hating up Dalan, it's going on wax. So Matthew said, gotta correct Dalan on this one. That guy that impersonated Bungie's lawyers did not work for Bungie. He was a Destiny content creator and was mad because his repost of Destiny music on YouTube were taken down. So he was pissed and started to false flag other Destiny content creators and went into forums pretending to be a victim of the false flagging and pretty much spelled out to the other creators how he was flagging their videos and how easy it was. So there you go. See, it seemed a little dubious. Anytime I'm like kind of like, I don't know if I want to believe you, dude. This is like proof. This is like further proof that I can't just give in, Dalan. I just can't 100% give it. But look, we do a little rundown here and was like, do you guys want to reply to this kind of stuff? And Dalan said, I want to defend myself. So like, the platform is yours, Dalan. The platform is yours. Please to defend yourself.
Nah, the only real defense I have is, afterwards I understand that I was wrong and I actually said the wrong stuff in the middle of it. But the main thing here is that some of these articles can be very long. And sometimes I don't take notes, and this is one of those times I should have taken notes.
Damn, we're gonna have to take you back to journalism school or something, Dalan. If We Got Comms ever turns a profit, if it ever turns a profit, that's the one thing we're gonna send Dalan to journalism school. And it's like,
hey, this is what happens when I have the case of the Mondays.
Hey, I want you to tell your professors, like, what do you do, profef, whatever you call them, whatever shorthand you want to call them, and tell them, you know what if the articles are too long? Just tell him that, Dalan. Just let us know what he says in response. But thank you, Matthew, because I kind of was going to let it go. I was probably, maybe in the middle of the podcast I would bring it up, but that was kind of, thank you, Matthew.
Matthew, I will say I appreciate your response because Carlos and Luis were hitting me up for 3 weeks straight about this. So
yeah, and that was part of why we were going to let it go, right? Because we've been hitting them up, Matthew. You don't understand. We're like, hey, wait for this podcast, Dalan. Wait for this podcast recording. We're gonna light you up. But it's been a while. I think it's been like 3 weeks now. So, but thank you, man.
I can take it.
Luis, any thoughts, man? Before we get to Jet. Jet had a couple comments here.
No, I think we hit all the bullet points on that one.
Thanks for keeping me honest, people.
All right, Matthew. Hey, feel free. Anybody else who's listening, feel free. Anybody. It could be me. It could be Luis. Preferably Dalan, though.
Preferably Carlos.
Preferably Dalan. The next thing, of course, Jet, we have on here, he said, hey, there are several games that have you played through NG+, which New Game Plus, I'm assuming. From another perspective, first that comes to mind is KH, Kingdom Hearts, Chain of Memories, I'm guessing. YouTube Story, Point Taken, totally worth it. I guarantee they'll settle out of court. I'd definitely make a huge news story of it before signing an NDA. Wait. Do you guys remember what this was about? I remember the NG Plus stuff, right? I think he's talking about the what's that game?
We're talking about Nier Automata.
Nier Automata 105.2576, but I think he's throwing something else in here that he guarantees they'll settle out of court. Definitely a huge news story a bit before signing an NDA. I'm not sure. Do you guys remember what that was?
Nope, not at all.
Jet, please.
No.
Jet, please. And we know him personally.
Context.
So, yeah, give us a little bit more context. If you want to comment again, we'll revisit it. But as far as the NG Plus stuff, Dalan, what do you? It's too much, man. It's too much. But I kind of,
Hey, the main one that I could even suggest is Nier Automata. After that, if you have a New Game Plus and it really doesn't add to the story, why are you playing New Game Plus?
Oh,
Don't get me wrong. If it's an easy trophy like I think Spider-Man Miles Morales, you have that New Game Plus. That one was an easy trophy. Horizon Zero Dawn, all you had to do was run through it one time on New Game Plus. Easy trophies like that, that's fine.
Well,
But
and as
Kingdom
far
Hearts
as
Chain of Memories was unnecessary to actually go back to it again.
well, and I think as far as what he's saying, it's a little different than like needing to replay it for the whole story. Like it's a prerequisite. That's horrible, man. New Game Plus, whatever you want to do, you had so much fun with the game, you just want to run through it again or play through it a bit more. I get that a little bit more than play it 7 times to get the full story. That's just some straight up nonsense.
Now, 2 things I want to say about this. I'm gonna make them real quick. I promise.
Okay.
For Nier Automata, it's actually not New Game Plus. It's play the next chapter of the story. You just happen to start at
After
that
roll
point.
credits. Roll credits.
Hey man, the credits roll a lot in that game.
No.
There's actually
You're not making a case
come
for
on,
this.
No.
What's
There's
going on,
even
man?
a point where the credits are rolling while you're actually continuing with the game. So they love putting up their creators on their game. I don't know why they did it so much, but you're still making progress every time you're doing stuff.
Nah,
Regardless.
man. If
Okay?
Dale was here, though,
But-
Dale would be like all over this. He'd be like, yeah. I'm not trying to
Hey,
flame you, Dale. Actually, yes.
it
We
is-
are talking crap
yes,
to
you
Dale,
are.
so he needs to get on the podcast at some point, so we can kind of, he can defend himself here. Luis, your thoughts on this, on Mr. Jet's comment?
Yeah, I mean, I think to me it is a lot different, even though it sounds stupider in a way because you're replaying a game and you're not getting more story out of it, right? You're just getting a story. You want to start off OP from the jump or just finish off a platinum. But for whatever reason, that makes more sense to me than like having to replay essentially the same timeline from a different perspective just to get the entire story.
After you're
That to
rolling
me is a
credits like
little
7
overkill.
times, dude. It's ridiculous, Dalan. It's foolish. Dalan, I will give you this one. So Jet did leave another comment, so you hit him up as much as you want, Dalan. You know this guy personally, right? So I feel like you can hit him up and he won't feel offended. Anybody else that comments, we won't light you up as much, right? But Jet, he did leave another comment saying, anyone know if they have Parasite Eve or Legend of Dragoon on PS Plustra Prime? He put Plustra Prime. So I'm assuming he knows what he said. But Dalan, how do you respond to this man's question here?
Hey, this PS Supreme Plus or Stra Prime or whatever you want to call it, you have a PlayStation. Turn on your PlayStation. Just go check. Go check. Go look.
I like it.
Don't get me wrong. I said this before when the PlayStation Extra and Premium came out. I was like, do I need Premium? I don't need Premium at all. I don't care for any of those games anymore. I played all of them. Parasite Eve and what was the other game? Legend of Dragoon were not on there at the time. However, those games were purchasable on PlayStation at some point. I think I bought them on the PS3. But I don't know if they're on the PlayStation Premium. Go check.
Okay, Jet, there goes your answer, man. On your PS Plustra Prime. Plustra Prime. I like it,
man.
though.
This guy.
I like it, man.
I like the fact that we need to put these things on r/brand new sentence all the time.
he said what he said. I'm sure that's one of those. So the big thing in the last couple weeks, I'm trying to find something as smoky as possible. But look, you know me, Dalan, and put the camera on me, please, one more time. Stop logging into GTA 5. But for once, I think Rockstar may have listened, but I don't know. I think this is just general trajectory that they were going in. I hope our campaign, or my campaign, I guess, has worked. But they did say, at the very least, there was some remasters planned. Grand Theft Auto 4 and Red Dead Redemption 1 remasters were planned, but those were scrapped. This is from, I think we got a quote from VGC, Video Games Chronicle, from a quote-unquote reliable source. They said, as per a reliable source with clear accuracy on Rockstar plans, remasters of GTA 4 and Red Dead Redemption 1 were on the table a few years ago, but Rockstar chose not to proceed with the projects in mind. The poor reception of the trilogy definitive edition might be a reason behind that decision. So that's kind of, people are taking that as confirmation as it's the end of, you know, any more major Red Dead Online support. You know, they're thinking of shifting onto Grand Theft Auto 6. What they said before, I think over maybe like a year ago, and one of their financial things, they said it's like, okay, we're moving on to GTA 6, right? But now it's kind of like, no, we're shutting down doors, right? And we did get a quote from Jason Schreier on Twitter. He did say most of the Red Dead Online designers have either left or moved to GTA 6 over the past 2 years. And even Rockstar kind of made it official. They put a new post up saying that they, you know, would stop doing Red Dead Online updates. They said, quote, over the past few years, we have been steadily moving more development resources towards the next entry in the Grand Theft Auto series, understanding more than ever the need to exceed players' expectations and for the next entry to be the best it can possibly be. Now, through all this, and we'll throw it to Luis real quick, but through all this, I do like how they said Red Dead Online and not GTA 5. They're like, please keep logging into GTA 5. That is the cash cow. But Red Dead, I'm assuming they really didn't necessarily blow up as much as GTA, right? Like, or GTA 5, or maybe they didn't support it as much as they should have to kind of have it hit that next level, right? But it's like, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, Red Dead is languishing anyways, and we're done with that. So let's shut that down. But I'm sure GTA 5 will continue, but please stop logging into GTA 5 so we can like really push them, you know what I'm saying, over the edge. But what are your thoughts here, Luis? What are you thinking about kind of the last couple of weeks worth of Rockstar stuff?
Well, in that same blog post where they mentioned Red Dead Redemption Online support stopping, they're basically switching any major updates to the game. So they're not adding more content. They're just switching it to essentially what it always kind of has been, it sounds like, where they do the weekly updates that just change without you actually having to update the game. So they change bonuses or whatever, different bonuses depending on what missions you do and things of that sort. But in that same blog post at the very top, they wrote, with more players than ever taken to the street of Los Santos. So it's like they
yeah, they
and then below that they started talking about we're doing a huge summer update. There's going to be more updates coming across the summer for the months to come. So the support for this game isn't stopping anytime soon.
You're talking about GTA 5, right? That Red Dead is
GTA
done.
5.
Yeah, Red Dead Online.
Yeah, Red Dead, they're taking, like they had said there, everyone over the course of the past 2 years. So has been moving to GTA 6 development. So this game online specifically was never set up to succeed to begin with, it sounds like. Like it was, they pushed out a few updates and then they kind of just let it die.
Well, yeah,
slowly.
they threw it out they kind of pushed it out to die in a way, right? Like they're like, we'll see if it catches fire, but really it's GTA 5. I mean, GTA 5 is Rockstar Steam, right? That's why we don't get more Half-Lives. That's why we don't get no more Portals, is because they're working on their Steam store, and that's GTA 5, right? But I think it's fair to say it's probably as expected, right? We'll get the rotation of whatever content already exists in Red Dead Online, but you know, it's sad because, you know, I kind of like Red Dead 2, and it's their latest like project. It's their latest actual thing, so I would have been okay with that living on, and then like, let's get rid of GTA 5 because we're working on 6. But you know, you can't kill the cash cows like that, man. You can't still stop logging into GTA 6. As far as that's concerned, Dalan, any thoughts on that, or do we move on to kind of the next big point on here?
I go to the next big point because I don't play I have not played the games enough to really have much of a comment on.
You've been listening to me
I've
saying
been
stop logging into GTA 5. because we need GTA 6. But it's definitely, of course, they've been working on it. And the fact that, Jason Schreier said in the last couple years. So was it this the game, Dalan, that you at some point said like, oh, I hope they've gotten a chance to work on it? It's like, of course they've been working on it, man. It's just, they got to build it up. They got to build the game up, right?
I don't think that's the game I was thinking of, but this is also a good example of I hope they've been working on it.
But I mean that's to say, it's like they've been working on it for a couple years. When do we see it, Luis? When do we realistically see GTA 6, man? What do you think?
Earliest probably in another 3 years.
Yeah,
I think that's what it sounds like to me.
2019. What? No, 2019. What are we at right now? What year do we live in?
In the year of our Lord 2022,
Yeah,
we're going back 3
What are we
years.
thinking?
We're going backwards.
2025,
Carlos.
2025, kind of like the end of this cycle that we're in, the end of PS5.
Hey man, don't give Carlos math problems.
Hey man, it's a struggle out here, but I just want GTA 6. But I mean, look, they're confirming things. They're like, all right, we're working on it. Shut up already, Carlos. Stop tell people to stop logging in. I hope they listen. And like stop telling them that. The next thing on here, Dalan, I think this was a little bigger deal for you. But there was a Red Dead Redemption 2 version, not necessarily a remaster coming, but there was a kind of a Red Dead Redemption 2 coming to PS5 and Xbox Series S and X. I don't know if you guys have played it, but I did recently play Red Dead Redemption 2. A freaking masterpiece, Liz. I'm sorry, man. I don't know if you know, but it's a freaking like masterpiece. As long as hell. Mm-hmm. But at some point, you build a freaking house, dude. You build you got the 2x4s and everything, like going around building a freaking house in the Wild West. And you're like, you look at your watch, you look at your clock. It's like, wait, I'm like 40 hours in, and I'm just now learning how to build a house right now. But all that to say is, I just played it. It's backwards compatible on the PS5 or whatever, and it kind of played fine, man. I feel like the loading maybe could have been a little bit faster, but I think it was fine for the most part. So I think that was an easy one for them to scrap. But Dalan, what do you think? You think we could have seen a PS5 version of Red Dead Redemption 2? We could have used that.
Well, quite honestly, people love the actual story for it after I've heard you talk it up. I don't know about Luis. But as for
he has mentioned, he kind of, I think even it's on Wax probably where he said it enough times, and I was like, all right, Luis, all right, I'll get around to it. I'm pretty sure there's a few episodes on Wax like that, but go ahead, Dalan.
Yeah, so if people aren't aware, I'm just gonna put this on Wax. I am joking. Luis loved Red Dead Redemption 2. I think you beat it multiple times last I checked. Twice, multiple times. That's more than once.
Plus, huh?
But I know those are long games. All Rockstar games happen to be super long games. I can't think of a short Rockstar game at all. But if they did put it on PS5 without the online, I think it would have sold just fine.
Let me correct you though, Dalan. I mean, they've been sort of long, but GTA 3, they were quaint. When I've talked about these games, GTA 3 and Vice City, they were quaint, man, because they were like 10-hour campaigns. You could do a bunch of other random crap.
You also...
It wasn't until, and I'm going to talk about what you've been playing, but it wasn't until San Andreas was like, this shit, this is huge, man. How do I even, where do I even start? Like, where do I even start? It was San Andreas, man.
The difference is, Carlos, is that you critical path the games that you play, or especially recently. Sure. For most people that don't just outright critical path all their games, a 10-hour game could easily turn into a 40-hour game.
Fair. That's fair. Luis, what are your thoughts, man? We could have used the RDR2 on PS5 or the next gen.
Yeah, people seem to eat up those updates, especially because they're free. But a lot of the reports are saying that these were coming and then they've been canceled, but there's no actual solid proof or evidence of any of this happening. So it's just reliable source saying this thing, But I think people would have liked it, but I don't think it's necessary.
VGC isn't too hyperbolic, I don't think. So I kind of tend to believe them a little bit more, I guess. But there's, they seem like they kind of are straight facts, but that's true. I mean, we don't know it from the horse's mouth, right? All we really know is that blog post, right? They were like, oh, okay, well, no more Red Dead, and then one more, we can extrapolate from that, right? The other thing that we have, this is one that is kind of Kotaku sometimes just blowing things out of proportion, I feel, but maybe you guys agree. We were 4 months into that GTA new subscription, I believe. I think it was like the $5, $6 thing. And they're saying like it's not worth it for most, but I think you've been kind of involved with it, Luis. You've been finding some worth in it, right? I believe, or
I'm a day one. I got a
okay.
day one. I've had it since its inception. I mean, it definitely is not for the average player, and it's actually even more than that. It's very niche. I don't think most people want the subscription service, but if like you're someone that's even on the edge of buying a shark card, like the in-app the purchase to like just get cash in the game, then that's a good option for you because
Yeah.
you get free cash over the course of the month, which I think I did the math. It adds up to, if you have your game connected to Twitch Prime, I think over the course of a month you get like 1.2 million or something, just like drip fed to you. So that if that's enough for someone, then sure. But
It's
you know,
some
you
it's
get
someone that definitely not following my instructions to stop logging in, right? It's someone that's what to make it worth it. To make it worth it, it's you gotta log in daily, once a week, twice a week. What do you think it kind of makes it like? How often do you have to kind of log into like this is worth it?
I mean, if it's just the money you want, then you got to just log in 4 times a month, essentially.
Okay.
But aside from that, it's really just up to you, like how much you want to milk it, because they give you different bonuses and exclusives for GTA Plus subscribers. So if you want to just try to like grind out a few missions to get some bonus pay there, but yeah, I don't think it's for the average player. Definitely not.
There you go. But stop logging in. So I mean, I'm just stop logging in. Dalen, any thoughts on this subscription situation?
Well, I'm definitely one of those more casual players of GTA, but I just recently started playing it again. And I know that when we were playing it, just as a good example, there's the casino heist. And if I did the setup for the casino heist, we would just get like general money, gold bars, or whatever the heck is actually there during that particular heist. But there was a point where I believe Luis had his subscription, and every heist that he did for the casino heist were all diamonds. And I think it was like the most money that you could get out of it at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So there are definitely some perks to having that subscription, and you can do other missions, get extra rep points, extra money, just for doing the general missions. Like he was getting twice as much money as me, regardless of what we did. And I'm like, I'm broke all the time. I might need this $6 subscription.
So what? Are you there, Dylan? Are you there? Are you gonna kind of dip into it? Are you gonna
if I continue to play it regularly, I probably will. I'd say the subscription is more so for people that play GTA regularly. Even if you don't play it all the time, if you play it regularly, it's definitely for you. If you only play it just because you want to go along for the ride and shoot some stuff and then leave, and then probably not log on for 6 months like Carlos does, then you may not need it. You may not need it.
I mean, look. Stop logging into GTA, man. What are we
Carlos,
doing? But anyways, look. In the meantime,
Carlos,
we're at least
are you gonna
like
play with us tonight.
We're probably not. You know, probably not. Probably not. But we're at least 4 years away. So you guys have your fun, I guess. At least we got something from Rockstar. Like, look, shut up. One of them is dying. We kind of sent it out to die from the very beginning, but whatever. Besides the point, one of them is being killed off. So we're working on that. We'll move on to quick takes here. Very quick. PlayStation Plus Extra / Premium. What did our buddy call it? The Premium. The Perennium, Plusterium. We gotta bring that in, man. We're gonna grab that from Jet. All right, Jet. We're swooping that from you. But apparently there is a 7-day free trial, and I try to look at it, but I don't think you can actually get it just like off the bat. I think you have to be like off of Plus. You have to be off of like.
I was thinking about that.
Yeah, so you don't really get the 7-day trial. You have to have no Plus. You have to have nothing, and then you start it, and the first 7 days are free, and then you get charged, right? But the main like, I'm probably gonna be upgrading this thing like tonight if the game is available, but Stray comes out Tuesday, so by the time this is up, it's already up. That little Stray Cat game, I'm super down. I looked at it, Dalan, that little what is it called, the difference that you have to pay is down to like $20 for me, so I'm kind of like, all right, I'll grab the cat.
You've only got so much subscription left. How many days did it say you had
like
left?
150. That thing is so fucking wacky, man. Sony, relax, man. Like that, it's ridiculous, dude. Like Xbox does a similar thing. They kind of do a is it called? Like they kind of prorated or something. Like I'd rather them do that, man. Like prorated, and it's like, okay, you have a month, but Sony's just extra wacky. Anyways, I'm paying the $20 because I want to play that cat game.
Keeping it wacky.
But Dalan, what are your thoughts? Whether on the cat game or on the little 7-day trial thing, what are you thinking here?
Hey, I'm thinking that they're trying to do that thing that you do the subscription and then you forget about it and then suddenly you lose all your money. But that's like $120 lost depending on what you decide to go for.
You better not auto renewal there because that's $120 you're gonna come out your pocket. So.
But it would have been interesting if they did it where if you didn't have extra or premium but already have plus, then or essential, that you could have actually just upgraded it for a week and then be like, nah, I don't want this. That'd have been probably a really good way to go, because people that already pay for the subscription might be happier to try out the new subscription and then say, all right, I like it enough to keep it. But for people that don't pay for the subscription are more likely to continue to not pay for the subscription. If they don't want to pay $60 a year, what makes you think they want to pay $90 or $120 a year?
Super wacky. Luis, thoughts, man? Or are you just looking forward to Stray, huh?
Well, no, I didn't realize there was this asterisk on here. I thought, oh, perfect. I'll
Now's the time.
I'll do the trial. I'll try out Stray, see if I like it, and then stop playing it and wait for the physical copy. But I can't do that anymore. So
have you dipped in there, Luis? Have you looked at like you? I think you might buy Stray straight up though, right? Or no? Or you're kind of gonna think about it.
Well, yeah, but I didn't. I thought it was gonna be like a $40 or $50 game, but apparently it's a full retail $70.
No,
game.
It's 30. It's $30.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, then there's no issue. Yeah, I'll go into a blind, just buy it.
There you go. $30. I'm like at $20 differential, and I'm like, whatever. If there was a physical thing, I think I'd have more of a concern, right? I'd be like, damn, I kind of want a physical edition, but I think there might be, but not right away or something.
No, yeah,
it's gonna be a couple of months later.
Yeah, dude, it's the same thing with Sifu though. But those I appreciated those because I didn't play Sifu until the physical came out because GameFly sent it to me. I was like, I'll play it that way. So Stray's out. It's getting some damn good reviews. I'm kind of down, dude. It looks kind of nice. But we'll see. We'll might talk about it next week, Luis. We might have that Stray to talk about. We'll see. The next thing we have on here is Mediatronic. I didn't know who these people were, but they are the developers of Fall Guys. They apologize because the new Fall Guys. If you guys go on your PlayStation, it says like new Fall Guys or whatever. So that's kind of interesting. And they apologize because apparently there's an auto purchase bug that is buying premium items for you. So that's kind of interesting. It's like, let's make this free to play, but hold on. We got this little what do they call that? They don't call it an iron horse, right? They only help me with the white people phrases, please. Trojan horse. It's a Trojan horse.
What the hell you're talking about with the phrase you got going on?
It's a Trojan horse that here you go. Here's the game for free, but we're gonna buy some shit right up under you. Luis, your thoughts, man? How does this this bug? Is it malicious, or do you feel like it really is?
I don't think it was intentional. I seriously doubt it. The only issue I have with this is that they've come out and said that they're not giving anybody refunds for any of these items that were bought by accident.
That was
that
wacky.
They didn't even intend to buy. So it's like, wait a minute. That's a little shitty right there.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I have a problem with this thing.
That's kind of makes you think. I was like, you sure you guys didn't put that auto thing on purpose? Which I don't think they did. I mean, that's really like some horrible, terrible. That's worse than the homie Sean Murray talking about. It's like, with a 10-person team, we're gonna make a game that you traverse the galaxies, and it's gonna be incredible. That's worse. That's worse than that. Dalan, what do you think about this, man? Would you be upset?
I was just thinking the same thing Luis was. I was like, I feel like they did that on purpose, and I feel like I would have slapped somebody. But at the same time, did anybody get their money back?
I don't.
Dalan, were you not listening to what we were just talking about?
Pay attention, man.
No, I was doing multiple things at once, but did they get their money back?
No, they are refusing anyone refunds for this.
Oh my god. Oh.
Are you down? Are you gonna try this? Are you gonna try Fall Guys, the new one?
No, I'm gonna let them
brackets.
Hey man, they got plenty of money from their auto purchases. I'm good.
This thing needs to get sorted out, dude. It's a nice little wacky game, but this thing definitely needs to get sorted out before I ever consider this. Next thing
did they at least get that premium costume, that Prue one?
Oh damn, Prue! I think we told the story before, right? But Prue definitely wanted this dummy. He definitely wanted this dummy.
Hey, crash test dummy. That's what it was.
He was upset, dude. He was like, that's why I always hit the betas. Next thing we have on here, Skate 4 is going to be officially titled Skate. and it will be a live service, free to play game with cross play and cross progression. And I think there's even like a little demo out there, like a pre alpha or something that people were able to kind of grab off of whatever server or whatever, and they were playing it, and EA was like, all right, don't fuck with that, like leave it alone. But it is out there. Skate was kind of like the more realistic Tony Hawk, which I tried a little bit, but it's like, I want my wackiness. All right, I want my Street Fighter cross skateboarding game. That's what I want. All right. But what do you think, Luis? This will kind of get you back into the. Were you a fan of the original Skates, by the way, or the original?
Oh yeah, I was. Dude, even before the full game came out, there was a demo on PS3 and it was like a time demo, 15-minute demo, and I restarted that demo so many times just to like play in that one like park area. Yeah, I was hooked. But, I'm excited that there's a new
that was your FIFA 14, I guess.
That was my FIFA, yeah.
Because we played the crap out of that FIFA 14 demo. But so Luis, how do you feel about like it's a live service, free to play? Would you rather it be kind of a standalone type of game?
I mean, it's an interesting decision. For whatever reason, it seems like these developers really care about bringing this game back to life again. So I for whatever reason, have full faith that they know that they're making the right decision here. But we'll see. We'll see how I feel in a few months or years.
Yeah, I mean, and it's kind of a way to kind of throw this type of game out there, right? Like, I don't know how well the Tony Hawk remastered games are, but they obviously didn't, light the world on fire. If Activision was like 3 and 4, I'm not messing with no 3 and 4. Get the hell out of here with that. So I think Skate, free to play, get people back into the mold. I don't know how big skateboarding was, because I remember in the 2000s when Tony Hawk was like, everybody wanted to skate. I know, Dalan, my bad, Dalan, you were a blader. Okay, you were a blader. I don't want to.
I don't like your comments, sir.
I don't want to
play the hell out of. Hey, stop. Stop.
I don't.
Stop right there. I'm about to defend myself on this point as well.
But people were skating during that time. They weren't blading, but you were blading. But that's fine. That's all I'm saying.
There were bladers, so you could go somewhere with that. However, I did also play the heck out of both Tony Hawk 1 and 2.
Yeah.
After years of not playing it, I am now currently trash at that game because I tried to replay it with you and it went terribly. Dude. I was barely able to hit like 50,000 points while everybody else was at like 2 million.
And look, and that was me. I'm not like the greatest Tony Hawk player, like by a long stretch, man. Do not play with Walter. The homie Walter will destroy you. He will murder you in that game. I played like one match. I was like, I can't do this, man. You're too good. Too good at this game. So shout out to Walter out there. We'll link him or whatever. But yeah, Skate 4, I think it's one of those things like, let's get this out there. Let's get this out there and see how we do. Let's get as many people involved. So I think that's kind of what they're doing. So we'll see what happens with that. Skate, I don't think there's a release date, but I'm sure well, they did say pre. They threw a lot of pre's. They threw a lot of pre's and alphas in there. So they're maybe a couple years away, I'm assuming. The next thing on here real quick is there's going to be a new loyalty program, a Sony loyalty program called PlayStation Stars. They will give you digital collectibles, and I like how like a day after they were like, it will not be NFTs. It is not NFTs. But anyways, these like loyalty points, you'll be able to redeem them for PlayStation Wallet funds, standalone games. So that's kind of interesting. I think Microsoft has their own version of it, like their own loyalty thing, and you never really get nothing too exciting from it, but take a couple bucks here and there, maybe some standalone games. It kind of comes down to what does Sony do with it, right? It can kind of go either way. The next thing we have on here is Final Fantasy XVI. Open world would have taken 15 years to make, is what the producer says. And my only response to this, Dalan, is like, no shit, dude. We're working on Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's like, and it's split in 3 parts, and it's not an open world game, but it's you got nice little chunky levels to it, right? So it's kind of like, yeah, the open world Final Fantasy 16. We'll never see the end of this thing, but
hey, I can't say the same thing that you're saying, Carlos, simply because it's like comparing apples to oranges. Yeah, they're both fruits, but they're completely different tastes. The fact is that Final Fantasy 16 in itself is a new IP, and they could have at the beginning decided, all right, we're going to make this Final Fantasy an open world game. I mean, it's not like it took Elden Ring 15 years to come out, even though we have
Ring, Dalan. He knows what he
Elden
said.
Ring.
Elden Ring. Yeah.
Even though we have 4 other Dark Souls games, it doesn't mean that they can't make a whole new IP with their open world, or at least take their IP and make it open world. They could have did that. I mean, they tried to do that when they went from Final Fantasy, what was it? They went from Final Fantasy 10 to 11, where they suddenly went into the MMO territory, right?
Yeah.
And then Final Fantasy 11 to 12, where they tried to take their turn-based style and turn it into MMO. Then at some point they hit 15, and that was a semi-open world game. So they could do it if they wanted to.
You're saying they could have like maybe scoped it in a like specific way where they're like, okay, let's make it open world, but you know, but I don't know. It looks kind of amazing though. You've seen some of the. Did you go full like blackout on it already? Because it's some of the stuff.
No, I saw the trailer for it.
It's pretty nice, man. I don't know if you do that and open world and it's coming out anytime soon, right? Like,
hey, it's just one of those things that it would have been a lot of moving parts for them to actually put it all together. Yeah. We have Blu-ray and a lot of space and SSDs. They could have did it. They just chose to go a different route. And
in 15 years,
maybe he's used
15 years.
He's used to the development time of other older games because he's been the Final Fantasy producer for these games for years. I think the person you're talking about in this case is Naoki Yoshida. Yeah. He's been a producer for these games for quite some time, and he's seen how long it may take just to make Kingdom Hearts. Yeah. Or how long it takes to make Final Fantasy 14, and maybe how hard it was to, well, not 14, 15, and maybe how hard it was to actually turn it into what it was.
Now, see, so the thing
is, 15 years is an excuse to just not do it.
No, I mean, look, it's you're saying like we have all this space, da 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 da. Someone has to actually make all that crap though. Someone has to make all those assets. It's not just like, let's pick it from here, let's grab it from there, let's all just kind of jumble it together. Someone has to actually make all that stuff to fit. You know, you might have all the space in the world, but you actually have to create it, right? And games like took less time, man. Those Final Fantasies, like on the PlayStation era, was it 7 came out in 97, then 8 came out 2 years?
1 year later.
Yeah, 1 year later. So that's not 4 or 5 years. That's like a year turnaround. Right, and then you had 9 in like 99 or 2000 maybe. So these games have taken longer and longer, man. So those 15 years realistic. If you want an open world, Dalan.
No, I don't think that's realistic at all. I think that's over exaggerating very hard.
I mean, it was your point. You're saying this guy's been producer for years, maybe a decade at this point, right? On Final Fantasy games. So he's one of the most well-equipped people to make an essay. Because he's been on the ground floor.
Yeah, I get the fact that
Dan's over here like bullshit.
Hey,
come on, Dalan.
Hey, he's been doing it for this long. You think he'd know the groundwork for these types of games?
Yeah, he's telling you it's gonna take 15 years. It's gonna take 15 years.
Yeah, again, I feel like that was still a very large overestimate. And he probably had some grandiose idea of how he would make an open world game. Yes, this is
well, and you know what? I think look, I think it might be 15 years. With the team that they have, because I don't think they have. I mean, I'm sure they have big teams, right? Square Enix has big teams making these games, but I don't think they fuck around like a BioWare or something like that. Where I don't know the numbers, but I'm sure there are hundreds and hundreds of people that work on the BioWare games or like the Skyrims or whatever. So I think to him, he's like, yeah, maybe we could do Dalan's timeline. 8-9 years with the with Skyrim team. Yeah, with the humongous ass team, right? But he's thinking like, I got Hideo Kojima over here to my left. I got like Shigeru
8
Miyamoto
people
to
like
my right.
I got 8 people like No Man's Sky working on.
Yeah, we got Sean Murray's team working on Final Fantasy 16. It's gonna take 15 years, Dalan. It's gonna take 15 years. Let's bring the scope back down a little bit, Dalan. He also did mention Naoki Yoshida. I hope it's a he. I hope we got it right then, because we're gonna get hit up by Matthew.
You're right. Week. It might be a she. I'm gonna look it up.
Most likely he, I think. But anyways, he also did say she did say that they kind of turned the game from turn-based to sort of like real-time commands to appeal to a younger generation. The Final Fantasy VII Remake, that's kind of a real-time commands though, right? Or you would consider that's not turn-based, right?
Final Fantasy VII
Remake, the remake, Dalan, the new one. It's kind of an action. It's a menu-based sort of system in a way, right? But it's kind of real-time.
See the question here isn't specifically okay. So I guess in this sentence they're talking about turn-based versus real time. But the thing that people are having a problem with when he's talking about younger generations is taking that away entirely.
Oh, even the slots, the little slots you see
Yeah,
on the left or
it's
whatever.
like you have an attack button, you got a magic button. If you played Strangers in Paradise, you'd essentially know what I'm talking about. That even though there may be a menu to actually select from, you're basically just mashing X to swing your sword, and it turns into an action game at that point. And
Okay.
people were getting very upset about it. But yes, the difference between turn-based and real time is that in turn-based, when it's your turn, that one character's turn, the game freezes, and you're like, "All right, let me make a selection." And now
How are
real
you
time,
feeling? How are you feeling? Well, before I forget, Final Fantasy VII remake was fucking amazing, dude. Let me just put that out there, man. That was our 2020 We Got Comms unanimous game of the year. But unanimous, all right. I don't think we'll get another unanimous because I don't even think it was unanimous this past year. We got like the most points went to It Takes Two. But so Dalan, what are your thoughts on 16, man? You don't really want a turn-based game, right? Or you would like them to return to a turn-based game at some point?
okay, it's kind of that's a difficult question to answer, simply because if they do it right, I don't mind. But the biggest balloon that's happening right now is Final Fantasy is known to be a role playing game that was turn based. And the further they move away from the turn based part, the further they move away from focusing on the story rather than the action. And it's kind of ruining the old school people's experiences. And the new he's talking about the younger generation trying to be involved. If they're not involved in what it was before, don't give a fuck about them. Just make your game. Was it Persona
But I
5?
mean
Did just fine.
yeah.
Persona 5 did just fine, and it was straight up turn based. All right.
But the mechanics are really just kind of a method of like the battles, really, right? I mean, the story is gonna be as good or as bad as it is, right? It doesn't.
No, that's what I'm talking about. Is that it changes the way you build the story depending on how the game mechanics are.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
Because you
about that.
can't tell the story. You
Yeah, I don't know
cannot
about that.
tell a story the same way with a turn-based game as you can with an action game. You just can't do it.
I don't know. I mean, I look. You're the RPG
Mhm.
guy here. I'll concede it mainly because I don't want to fight you right now, man. We're going along
Don't
here,
fight me on
but
this.
but
Don't
I feel
fight me
like
on
I feel like
this.
the story for the most part is separate. And if anything, I think it's a little more immersive when you're actually swinging around and Sephiroth or whatever. What's the main guy? Cloud. The main guy Cloud is yelling around, yelling random stuff while you're actually in the middle of a battle. You know, I think that's even more immersive. The fact that you're swinging your sword around and doing things. On a
Yeah, but the
related.
problem is that you don't. The problem is that if you focus more on the battle than you do the actual story itself, then you actually end up losing what's going on in the story, or at least you don't care about the characters.
I think this is
You
like
don't
a thing.
actually let
This is a
those
thing
things
that was
sink in.
happening in a game you were playing right recently, that they were
The
talking and
game
you
that
didn't,
I was playing.
and you didn't like them talking while you were battling or something like that. What was the?
Oh no, you were having this issue recently. We were playing Tiny Tina's Wonderland, and you were like, "I don't care about any of these guys. Why do I care? Let me just
Different.
go shoot something."
Yeah,
You
but that's
stop
different.
caring about who's there.
Yeah, I gotta catch some of the jokes. But the art style, though, you will never
All right,
convince Lee on, and that art
name
style is pretty
Carlos.
terrible. So I agree, Lee. I agree,
Carlos. Name one character aside from Tiny Tina.
dude. I was gonna say Tiny Tina. Like you knew I was gonna say Tiny Tina. Next thing on here, Dalen. Speaking
Moving
on
on.
Final Fantasy Rebirth is not coming to PlayStation 4. One of the reasons is because of the SSD.com. We have a quote from producer Yoshinori Kitase, who said, "Since the adventure unfolds in a vast world after the escape from Midgar, loading stress is an extreme bottleneck. We felt we needed the specifications of PlayStation 5 to overcome that and travel the world comfortably." That was kind of a translation from Gamatsu, so we'll give him that. Dalen, what do you think, man? That's a pretty good reason, right? To leave the PS4 behind for Rebirth, right? Get that smooth loading.
That well, not leaving it behind for Rebirth. Just at this point, move away from it. We had this conversation a couple of times. I don't care that it's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I don't care what the next game is that would actually be coming out of their pocket or out of their library. just go ahead and move to the next generation. PS4's got a
just in
great
general,
great enough catalog. Just go ahead and move forward. We had this conversation.
Yeah.
They need to start moving forward, or else we're never going to get away from the PS4, and we're not going to get newer things.
But in particular, I guess to Midgar, I mean, it does kind of. That's where I stopped. I will go back, Dalan, and play Final Fantasy VII until the next point of Part 3. But that would have been kind of a bummer to have to like load in and out, right? It's just kind of nice to like know that you're just streaming. We're streaming all this information. But I do take your point that like let's just everyone move on. The next thing on here, of course, is that they did consider it that it's going to be a two-parter. Are you happy there's going to be a trilogy instead? Because we really wouldn't see it for 15 years. I know you think they're lying and they're bullshitting you, but you know it would have been taken a while, I suppose. Are you okay that it's a a trilogy versus a two-parter?
Well, the fact is that when they first announced it, it was they were talking about how it was supposed to be 4 parts, or at least 5 parts or something like that, and they ended up reducing it, and then they keep reducing it. So I feel like they're at some point going to start taking out story. So, and that is actually another problem with going from turn-based to action RPG. They tell the story differently. And don't get me wrong, it's just I know they wanted to actually.
I like how you waved off your own argument there, Dalan.
No.
Look at the video. If you guys haven't seen the video, he just waves off his own argument.
I know they want to get away from the old story in their own way and try and make a new thing because they want to try and make new fans and old fans happy at the same time. But at the same time, I feel like they're going to be missing a large chunk of the original game.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna miss that.
Well, I mean, that's just
I won't be mad that it's not there.
That's just based on what we know so far, right? Because like the first part was like 2-3 hours of the original game, right? So it's kind of like we still have a lot of hours to go, and you guys are talking about it's only 3 parts. So I think you make a fair point. I think we won't know until the second one comes out to how much they truncate it, but you think that that's kind of where they're headed, right? I mean, we'll see. We'll see with this next one.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of time skips.
Okay, we'll see. I'm okay with that, though. I honestly am okay with it, but I can see why it'd be like, what are we skipping here? What are we, like, not having, right? So
what are we missing? We're missing a whole in-between chunk. Did they take out the gold saucer? I would have slapped somebody.
Spoilers, though. No spoilers. As long, you know what they won't take out? Then you'll get your snowboarding, all right? You'll have your snowboarding minigame, all right?
Hey, man, that's definitely going to go. So is the underwater submarine fight. And
you're going to have all that. Next thing on here is that the Leviathan summon included in Final Fantasy VII. Hey, I don't know how to pronounce these things. In Final Fantasy VII Remake is a reference to the original Final Fantasy VII game demo. You kind of, is this a big deal? I didn't really know, man. I'm just kind of beating up characters in the game, and I'm like, I love that summon.
What I want you to do is reread that word, but think Destiny.
Leviathan.
There you go.
All right, there you go. I got you.
Now, as for the summon being a reference, I believe that me and Jeremy Lowe, we also had the conversation about this on air, being that they went through a lot of stuff that was in Final Fantasy very quickly. Like stuff that was definitely not supposed to be in Midgar was in Midgar. How are you going to get fire free?
Kind of shifted around some of like the story elements. Like
No, not the story elements. I'm not talking about the story elements. I'm talking about the equipment that you could obtain throughout the game. Because you are not supposed to have lightning bolt level 3 by the time you get halfway through the game. All right, that was halfway through disc 2 of 3 in Final Fantasy VII, and they're just bringing in all the summons that you should not have.
So you guys kind of, if you got that deep into the game, those are like little alarm bells, if you will, right? That it's like, okay, hold on, how long is this?
What are you? Yeah. No, it's more like, what are you gonna put in the next game? Then you're really gonna just start making stuff up at some point.
I like that, man. Next thing we have on here, Bayonetta 3. Finally, we have a release date. I know the fans of Bayonetta, not on this podcast, apparently. It drops October 28th. The funny thing to me is that it finally has a family-friendly mode, which will make it like so you're comfortable in the living room. It's called the Naive Angel mode, and this is from the Platinum Games Twitter. They said by turning it on, you can play right in the living room without having to worry about what's on screen. We think. So thank you for that, Platinum Games Twitter. Because obviously, if you guys haven't seen the game, it's the character when she attacks, the more attacks she does, her hair, because her costume is made of
her
hair,
costume is
so
made of
the
her
hair it continues to reveal her. So I'm gonna appreciate this. If I do get around to playing this, I will definitely appreciate this mode. So
I just need to get around to playing the game in general. That's my problem.
and I think it's
I
on
wanted to play it.
Dalen,
Oh no, it's on PlayStation. Who the fuck?
I don't know. I was looking it up earlier, and I think I have a copy of it because it was like a duo pack with Bayonetta and what's that other game?
Carlos, I'm pretty sure it dropped on PS2 originally.
I don't know. Was it?
Yes.
Was it a PS2 game?
It was a PlayStation game originally.
Okay, then I'll give you that. Hey, I'll give you that one. PlayStation, but then it became like an exclusive though, a Nintendo exclusive. So that's why it's tricky.
No,
yeah, that's why.
I think they ended up picking it up for
Bayonetta 2
or something.
Yeah,
like
Bayonetta 2 came out on like GameCube or Wii or Wii U or something.
Yeah, but anyways,
so there's gonna have a family-friendly mode for you guys interested out there, so you can be in the living room playing this game, and it won't be too uncomfortable, I suppose. Next thing we have on here, Sony wants to be the quote the Nike of gaming gear. Luis, what does that mean, man? I know you were just kind of messing with some Sony stuff yesterday while we were playing Rocket League. It's like, this headphone or something. You were kind of about to throw it across the room.
That's a little different. That's a tech versus like a hat or whatever.
Gotcha.
Which I think they already are. I think they have been. You don't see people walking around with like an Xbox hat or Xbox shirt really as much as you see someone walking around with the triangle, circle, like square something on them. So I think they already have. Maybe they're just making a bigger push to like try to get that.
Now is that what you get from it? Because what I get from it is like they want to be like of gaming gear, meaning like Nike is kind of considered sort of the best or upper tier, I guess, as far as sports stuff, sports gear. I think they're more referring to like headphones.
I don't think they're talking about peripherals. I think they're talking about clothing.
Like we gotta get to the bottom of this because I feel like they're talking peripherals, right?
No, because there's the difference. There's the difference between gaming gear and street gear. So in this case, gaming gear, they're talking about like having PlayStation.
Dalan, I don't know if I could, after that Bungie story.
I have one issue of reading that incorrectly. I'm sorry.
Hey, for once, though, I'm kind of siding on Dalan, though. I'm siding with Dalan, I feel. But Matthew, please, can you please send us a comment?
I mean, if you guys really think they're going to make a headphone or a controller that works on an Xbox, then sure, maybe they'll do that. Okay. We'll see.
All right, but
we're talking about apparel.
Sony, you need to do some more clarifying around here. We'll investigate it. If not, Matthew will definitely correct us. But go ahead, Dan.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Sony's already making washing machines and TVs, but I understand that's a completely different department.
No, I think that's what they're talking about. That's exactly what they're talking about. It's the washing machines. Next thing we have on here is the developer of The Last of Us Part 1 said it's not a quote-unquote cash grab, and to me it's like...
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. But you can do it with care. You can have a cash grab, and it could still be a high-quality port or a high-quality rendition or from the ground up or whatever it is. But Luis, what do you think? Me and Dalan kind of came to that conclusion very quickly, but if you have a little more to expand.
Yeah, well, I mean, just by the premise of the term cash grab, that's totally not what they're doing. A cash grab is someone that is not. They're literally trying to churn this thing out and flip it out as quickly as possible, so they could make as much money as quickly as possible. Whereas here, they actually took the time to remake all of the character animations from scratch. Like that alone is a huge endeavor, and it's something that I expect from Naughty Dog with something like this. More of a cash grab would be when they released the Nathan Drake collection. That's a little more of a cash grab because they just updated the lighting and the textures, which that is a very difficult thing to do, but it's not as intense. As like animations, environments,
and that one they handed it off to like a Blue Point or something too, right? They kind of was like, all right, here, just
that I'm not sure of. I don't know that for sure.
So you're saying a cash grab is like the PlayStation Mini? When everybody wanted a mini system, they just put out a little thing that had a bad emulator on it.
That's more of a cash grab to me.
That was not even a good cash grab, dude, because I was like, no one picked that thing up. Those things were like $20 like the second week it was out or whatever. But anyways, I think initially people are gonna look at it maybe on the store shelves or whatever, like, what the hell is this? Okay, a little cash grab, but I think that's fair. I think that I like the nuance there, at least. I like the nuance there that it's like they put quite a bit of work into this thing. All right, and then they'll make a couple bucks. Next thing we have on here is we finally have a release date, Dalen. Not an exact one, but for the Dark Chronicles, The Devil in Me drops this fall. I would hope that it's a multiple characters, but I think it's probably just gonna be a 2-player version, right, Dalen? We'll kind of dig into it.
It's the same game. It's just 2 players.
Yeah, they're not doing that because the Quarry, and I played a little bit of it already. That one is definitely there's a difference. There's a difference in the quality of that game versus the Dark Chronicles. Even though the Dark Pictures Chronicles is still like pretty decent, actually. I think it's pretty decent for like how quickly they churn them out. But the Quarry is on another level, I feel, and even so, it's a little. There's a little animation quirkiness to it, but it's just higher up there. But the Quarry Wolfpack multiplayer update has dropped. And you know, as we remember, we mentioned it, we put it on wax that they had a legitimate reason to delay that thing. They are in a war zone, and they had to get those servers out of there and retest the game and all that stuff. So that's out there. My question, Dylan, is when do you get the Quarry? Because me and Luis are ready to go, man. We're just waiting on you.
I'm gonna have it either Thursday or Friday, so I'm down.
Okay.
I did send back Elden Ring. So
You're really trusting GameFly to get it to you. Well, my bad.
What, Luis?
I said he had to notify everybody that he was returning Elden Ring.
Hey, Elden Ring went back.
Well, we'll see. So we'll be playing it soon, though. Right? And apparently, so the multiplayer, the way it works is we vote on these decisions, Dalen. So there's like, okay, where do we want the story to go? And look, it's 3 of us at least. So unless someone online out there wants to play with this, it's a 6-player game, right? Or at least 6 players. So we'll vote.
Hey, if I accidentally kill a character, leave me alone.
Damn. Luis, what are you thinking, man? You want to kind of tell Dan to hurry up?
I've been for like a week and a half at this point. I was already just gonna start the game, like without.
It's in process. It's in process. Just wait a couple more days. We will do it.
You're lagging it, Dalen.
More than a couple at this point.
Yeah, you're lagging it, Dalen. You're putting a lot of trust. Putting a lot of trust in GameFly right now to get it to you in an expedited manner. The next thing that is coming out in an expedited manner, apparently, God of War Ragnarok will come out November 9th, 2022. I still don't believe it. I still don't quite buy it.
You keep saying that it's going to get delayed until next year.
You know, hey, they made a whole big old stink about it. They even had to go back on reports. I think it might have been VGC that was like, no, we had a report saying that they were going to push this thing. And then, you know, Jason Schreier and the developers, Cory Barlog maybe, he's working on it. No? Who's working on God of War? He might have been like, shut up. No, this is coming out this year. Just shut up about it. So it's November 9th. We'll see it. I got to play God of War 2018 still. So I got to play through that. So no spoilers, please. But I'm gonna get it done before November 9th, I suppose. Dalen, your thoughts, man? You ready for this Ragnarok?
Hey, 2018 was such a good game. Yes, I am down for Ragnarok. I was ready for it the moment I finished the 2018 game. But I figured they're probably pushing it out this quickly because they're still using the same boat animations. Don't worry.
Okay, reasonable. That's why they're able to get it out that quickly. Hey, Dalan. That's how you want them to get Final Fantasy XVI done in such a quick fashion. They just pull animations from Final Fantasy VII, the 97 edition, Dalan, the 1997 version of it. All right.
Hey, man, continue to use those same boat animations. You know you love your water physics. They haven't changed since 1997. We're good.
Damn. Next thing on here, Nintendo said they can't realistically create sequels to, quote, every series fans request. And that was just a quick little I like to, you know, if you guys have seen that little thing, that meme online, but it's like, fuck the kids, fuck them kids. They're like, no, don't expect us to make everything that you want us to make. And I like it. I like a spicy Nintendo, dude. I like a spicy Nintendo. Saying like, no, we are not working on that. The other thing, we did get a confirmation though from I should have put the developers. They Sucker Punch. Thank you very much for that. Sucker Punch. They did make a confirmation too that they're not working on a new Sly Cooper. They're not working on a new Infamous. So they're just. I think it's Ghost of Tsushima, dude, for like the next, I don't know, 10 years maybe. You know, they're working on movies or a TV show or something. They're a victim of their own success. I feel like where they're like, even if they wanted to work on Infamous or Sly, Sony's like, no, man. You're working on Ghost of Tsushima here. But I think one of the interesting things here is though the freedom for them to say is like it is not being worked on, meaning that I feel it's like Sony's like, okay, we'll give it to Bluepoint, we'll give it to these, you know, other little developers, and Sucker Punch is like, no, You will not do that. You will not do that. So, what are your thoughts here on this, Luis? You look like kind of them coming out and hey, we're not.
Yeah, I
working on
mean, I honestly didn't think of that. What you were, or sorry, I was thinking that they would, for instance, maybe the IP like Sly, give it to Blue Point or something like
Yeah.
that. But maybe it is that Sucker Punch came out and was like, no, we make that title.
We make that
So
situation.
I
The
mean,
start game back up.
I would have really liked. I've been wanting an Infamous game for years, but I mean, I have no problem with them if they're working on a new Ghost of Tsushima. Because I played the game, platinum that one, played the expansion, great stuff. So I'm ready to get back into that. All the moon stance, all that stuff.
All the moon stands, he still jumps like Sly Cooper. I mean, he's still jumping like that. So you guys ain't missing too much. But yeah, and it's kind of in a way a little maybe unfortunate, I guess, because Infamous was pretty good, man. That last one, I feel like that was peak Infamous, that Second Son, right? I feel like
that was PS4 launch title, man. That was a while ago.
It was a while ago, but it was kind of like it was peak, and then they did Second Son, right? The DLC that was pretty good as well. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like just at the peak of this series, because before that, Infamous 1 and 2 was like they had a little wackiness to it. They were pretty good, I think, but they were not perfected. And I feel like with Infamous, like Second Son, I know he had the little beanie, the little Seattle, a little hipster situation going on, whatever. But I feel like that was like peak Infamous. So I'm sure we'll see it soon. But I think it's gonna come down to like Ghost of Tsushima runs its course, right? And it's like, all right, fine, we're ready. We're ready for the next Sly Cooper. This one's for you, Dalan. This next one, Super Bomberman 2 is announced with 64-player battle royale mode. That drops next year. We did have a recent experience, I think, in the last year and a half or so, where it's like, this is terrible. But I think it was mainly like a matchmaking thing. The fact that it couldn't be just me and you, let's get in a group and let's load up online, right? I think that was like the main concern. So they need to get that right, I feel, right? Or what are you thinking here?
I am ready for anything better than I think it was Bomberman R. I am ready for anything better than that game, because that was horrendous and it just wasn't fun, especially if you can't play with your friends. What the hell's the point? What is the point?
It was pretty trashy, man. It was pretty trashy.
I dropped $10 on that game and I should not have. I feel cheated.
I mean, it's one of the reasons that like even like Virtua Fighter 5, like the re-release that they did, it's just the matchmaking, dude. That game is incredible. At least to me, it's incredible. I know you like the dollar combos, Dalen. You have a preference for that. But we can't match up against each other. We got to find ourselves like on a random like server, and we got to do something wacky. It was like, oh, I'm putting 2 thumbs down in this server. That's how you find me. It's like, it's ridiculous, man. So if they don't like get that like correct, it's over. It's like over before it even starts, man. Right? Because we were kind of hyped for that Super Bomberman.
We were.
I will say I'm kind of proud of us. We made it to like the end of the news section with about an hour, man. So I feel like there's a little maturity on our part. I feel we still got a little what you've been playing, but I don't got too much to say. So we'll move on to what you've been playing. Luis, have you been playing anything out there? Besides,
do you even need to ask?
I mean, just like stop logging into GTA, man. Like, what are we doing out here?
I'm on my grind, man. I'm on my grind. Got 41 mil in the bank account, ready for that update. That's my what you've been playing.
Okay, all right, there you go. Me, I did like I was mentioned earlier. For Ray Liotta, man. Let's blame Ray Liotta. I know R.I.P. Ray Liotta, but I did go back like to Vice City, platinum that, GTA 3, platinum that. Now I'm in like San Andreas platinum mode, and the first thing that you notice playing this game is like it's freaking huge, man. It's humongous, and I was like, did I beat this game? I was like, yes, I did. I remember most of the missions to that game all the way to the end. I did miss, at least this might interest you, I did miss Heist 1.0. I didn't realize that's like they started it there. I mean, it's not exactly like how you do it in the GTA 5, but there is like, okay, we need to go rob a truck. We need to go get some motorcycles.
We need to prep.
We need to prep. Like, you're doing a prep for it, and he even has the board. He even has like the board up. It's like, oh, this is what we're gonna do, and like the bunch of knuckleheads, right, trying to get it together, along with the blind like mafia, the Yakuza or Triad or whatever the guy is. He's blind, so yeah. He's always just blind, and he's like, okay, this is your mastermind here. how are you gonna take him on your heist when he can't see shit? But that's fine. So it's San Andreas, man. And one of the things I will say about it is like, yes, the first thing is it's huge, and it is kind of amazing though once you open up the whole world where you're kind of doing little missions across the map where you see like the background, the landscape of like Las Vegas, and it's like, oh shit, that's Las Vegas. I can see it because it's the Mirage right there. It's coming up in the freeway. Or you're driving to Los Santos, and it's like, okay, there goes the Citibank building. Or to San Fierro, you see the Golden Gate Bridge. So all these like landmarks, it's like it's kind of incredible, and it's so humongous, right? That even like I'm sure it's not the density isn't the same as GTA 5, right? I doubt it's even a fraction of that density. But just as much like in the sense that how much like ground you cover, it's kind of amazing. It's kind of incredible, and it has Heist 1.0. And I will say this: I was telling Dalan a little bit about it yesterday, I believe. Dalan, we were playing some kind of Tiny Tina. We were playing Tiny Tina, Dalan. I was telling him that the soundtrack I kind of dismissed it a little bit. There's some bangers in there. There's some nice little stuff in there, some classic hip hop. Like they even put like some country music. Basically, it's the genesis of like all the crap you get.
Rose was my shit, man.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I think DST or DTS or something like that is the one I like. But other than that, there's some good tracks on there. I still feel like the cohesiveness of like Vice City is unmatched, man. It might even have like less music, or Vice City might have had less music than San Andreas, but it was just like the vibe was just beautiful. It was perfect. But San Andreas, I definitely did not play enough of it. I probably played just enough to beat it, but I'm kind of enjoying this. And yes, the definitive editions they're okay, man. I honestly, yeah, and I think we've mentioned it before, at least. I think it might be like it got an update at some point. Maybe it was horrible, because I know there was one glitch where like there was constant rain, pouring of rain, and you couldn't go anywhere. But I haven't really had that issue. When there's raining though, it's kind of an issue, but it's not like that. Like I saw the glitch or whatever. So I've been having fun with that. I still got to get like a whole bunch of like oysters and like horseshoes and like all kinds of random crap. This is platinum mode right now, man. I'm missing like 2-3 trophies right now at this point. So the only thing that will keep me from it is if it glitches out or something. I got to rage quit. But otherwise, I'm on that mode. I did play another game because it was leaving Game Pass. If you want me to play a game on Game Pass, tell me it's leaving. Tell me the deadline of when it's leaving, and if I'm slightly interested, I'll mess with it. Played Carrion. It was a 4-hour game. You play as the Thing. You play as a slithering little biomass character, and the controls are interesting, how you kind of slither around the perimeters of the levels, and you kind of upgrade it. You can go invisible. You have different moves based on the mass, your body. You need to leave your body behind sometimes, and to be able to do certain moves. So that was a cool one. I hope you guys got to play it before it kind of left Game Pass. But if not, it might be kind of cheap somewhere. It's a 4-hour game. It's interesting. It's a nice little, like, you are the monster. And you're slithering around the whole map and just murdering stuff. Dalan, you just put games down. That doesn't help me when I'm going to do the rundown later, when I'll put the story. But please, sir, what have you been playing here?
All right, here, I'll do this for you just so so you don't hurt your brain.
Just talk. Don't hurt your brain, and I'll type it in, Dalan. What you been playing?
I got it.
So Dalan, control pace 7 games. Okay, Dalan. All right, let's go through it here.
All right, so I played a little bit. Well, it's been a couple of weeks, like you said, since we've been on here, so I got a chance to play a couple of games over this period of time, and I decided to try a couple of new ones. Obviously, I tried Returnal because I know I talked about that previously, but I went back to try and actually get through the run again. After about 3 attempts and 3 deaths, I was like, no, I'm done with this game now.
Wait, this is after you had rage quit the first time. You went back again.
Yes, I went back again. I was like, you know what? I want to give it a real shot. And I was like, nah, it's just too tiring. I don't want to do it right now. So I was like, because I remember you said you're down to do multiplayer. So whenever you're ready, Carlos, I'm ready to hop back on.
Maybe this week.
But right now,
straight first.
Yeah, but right now, Returnal off my books. But for anybody out there who loves a good, I guess, bullet hell game, it's not exactly bullet hell. It's more like We're just gonna throw stuff at you and see how long you survive type of game.
I mean,
if you
that's kind of the definition of a bullet hell game.
Yeah, I know. But it's not the same as my traditional.
Have you played their previous games, right? Like, these guys are like top down shooter, dual stick shooter guys, right?
Yeah, like
Returnal's like a third person version of that. Like they did what they've been doing.
Like I said, it is not my traditional bullet hell. That's why I didn't want to say it that. But anyways, Returnal's not a bad game. It's just a very repetitive and tiring game, so I'm good. Fighting X Lair. I actually decided to try this game, and back
is it not
years
EX?
ago,
Is it not Fighting EX Lair?
I'm not even sure, because back in the day there was the game that came out called Street Fighter EX plus A, and that's stood for EX plus Alpha. I guess it was X Alpha.
Well, look,
I'm not
Dalan,
sure.
I know your favorite.
Nobody ever clarified.
I know your favorite was Capcom versus SNK EO, and EO stands for Easy Operation. So I know that one was your jam.
Screw EO.
Okay.
Capcom versus K. That was great.
Mm-hmm.
Fighting EX Lair. Stay away from it. It's also a terrible game. They just tried to take those characters that they had the IP for and try and do something with it, and they did a terrible job at it. You have like 3 move sets, and you're just kind of, if you're not dashing and doing a combo, then you're not playing the game right.
Dalan, what console, what developer is this? What help me out here.
Good question. I have no idea.
What are you playing it on, man? Are you on an emulator over here?
No. I mean the developer. I don't know who the developer.
Well, what console? What console?
But I was playing on PS5.
Okay.
So this is on Extra. This is on PlayStation Plus Extra, and I was able to download it and play it, and it was a terrible experience. I played it for like 2-3 hours, and I like fighting games. Yeah. I even like some old fighting games that may not have the best of move sets. I would very much prefer to play Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Ultimate over this game, and I hate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Ultimate, or whatever that was. The one where they introduced the gems into the system. I hated that. Now, aside from Fighting EX Lair, because I know you don't really do fighting games, Carlos, I'm going to move on to the next fighting game that I played.
Or Soul Calibur. Soul Calibur is pretty damn good too, man. Soul
Calibur is good, but they started walking away from what made Soul Calibur good, which was just the fighting aspect. They started throwing special moves into it. Did Luis fall and his camera just aiming at the sky?
I think it might be all right. He's just like wondering what's happening.
All right, so I'll continue to talk. I decided to play Dead or Alive 5 Last Round. Yes, another fighting game, and I know this one's a lot older, but I wanted to actually see if it still held up today, and it kind of does. It really honestly does. I don't care about your dial-up combo situation you got going on over there, Carlos. The game is actually still good. The problem with it when it originally came out is what it was. You could download the game for free, but you would only get 4 characters. Either that, or you'd have to pay $30 to get the rest of the core characters.
They were getting wacky, right? They were getting wacky.
Yeah, they were getting wacky with their prices, and I was like, no, I'm not doing all that. I'm good. I'm gonna walk away from it. But then I went back and played it. The game is honestly a solid game. Now, aside from that, I tried a new RPG for myself, and I've been wanting to play it, was Ys 8, which was Lacrimosa of Dana. And this was basically a game that I was waiting for, and then I come to find out when I was playing it that it basically had PS3 graphics. And when I say PS3 graphics, I mean low-tier PS3 graphics. Like,
well, what is this on? Is this a new release? What year did it come out? What's going on here, Dalan?
This came out, I believe, in 2018 or 2019, and it dropped on the PS4.
Okay, relatively new.
But it looks like, yeah, it's relatively new, but it looks like it came from 2010. Okay. So it was.
What you get, man? What are you doing playing with Ys 8? Lacrimosa of Dana. What are you doing over
Ys has their own ways of making their games. It's basically like an alternative Zelda.
Now this is a RPG. Yeah, I was gonna say this is an RPG, quote unquote RPG, where you bump around your sword everywhere you go. Right, you walk around.
Yeah, you can actually swing your sword and stuff like that.
We're going back in time. I'm talking about like the original Ys, right? You just kind of shove your sword everywhere, right, and that's how you attack.
Yeah, that was the top-down Legend of Zelda type thing. That's no, not Legend of Zelda. Yeah, Legend of Zelda, top-down Legend of Zelda type thing. And the Lacrimosa was like taking it to a new level. And I enjoyed East Arc of Nepotism. I can't pronounce. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. But that one came out on PS2, and I super loved that game. That was a great game. But it feels like between PS2 and PS4 and their other 3 games that came in between, I feel like they've made very little ground.
All right.
So if you can get past the graphics for Lacrimosa of Dana, it's still a solid game.
Are you done with it? You're
and I
gonna
do
keep
plan
playing
on going.
it?
No,
Oh,
I'm gonna keep playing that game.
And this through PlayStation.
PlayStation Extra, man. I told you,
Lacrimosa
I did not need premium at all. The extra is that's all I needed. I got a whole catalog of games. I'm good.
Okay. There's a lot of waving going on from Dale. You don't
That's
got
what
the
plus Supreme gets you.
Yeah, you don't have the case on Mondays no more for sure. But yeah, I mean, look,
I had to defend myself. Had to wake up.
Now, is it like you're trying to get through like, as much stuff as you can, and then you might not re-up on the PlayStation Premium Lacrimosa or whatever it's called?
Well, one of the things, Jet, figure out your words.
No, he knows what he said.
He knows what he said. No, what I want is to test out a bunch of different games now that I have the chance and it comes with that catalog. Kind of like the Xbox Game Pass. You have that big catalog of games that you've been meaning to try out. You don't have to pay a whole lot of money for it. And hell, I'm gonna go ahead and go through them. I know they had their 1-hour time trials, but I don't want to have that feeling that I'm on a time limit. I would rather just say, okay, I have this catalog of games. I can go and do it whenever I feel like it. Now that I have that catalog, I'm like, all right, let me touch base on a bunch of these little games. That way I'm not playing it for 30 minutes and it tells me when I'm about to log out, you only got 30 minutes left to play this game, so be careful. And at the end, it tells you want to buy this game. I don't want that.
There you go. What else before we get up out of here, Dalan? What else? We've been playing this next one, right?
Yeah, we've been playing this one, and I myself like myself some Borderlands. I think we talked about this a couple of times now.
Terrible art style. Terrible art style. But there's some chuckles in
there. I will say it is now a dated art style. Because even I believe what was the name of that the creator that does the story modes? They did
Telltale?
Yeah, Telltale.
Yeah.
Even Telltale started taking that style for a little while.
No, I think Telltale's been doing that. They did it from the beginning, dude, and like that
they
engine, yeah, that engine like started showing its age quick, and they were like, whatever, we're just gonna keep working on this engine. It's fine.
Yeah, it's the fact that the engine, or not the engine, the art style for that engine has started to really become dated, especially when it all looks the same. I'd like the game to be more 3D at this point, or completely change the art style, make it
more
totally animated.
Yeah.
Whatever, either make it more realistic or make it totally animated. Give me something new. But the problem is, it's still just a first-person shooter. It's Borderlands. It's Borderlands with swords.
Nothing more, nothing less. It's still like you're always gonna have trouble with the inventory, right? You don't know what's a good weapon, what's a bad weapon. Like kind of at a glance, right? You have to like read it.
They don't even tell you what type of weapon it is now. You just gotta know by the picture that you're showing. You're like, is this an auto rifle or is this a sniper rifle? I can't tell.
It's a lot, dude. Especially when you're always full up on the inventory. It's like, what do I get rid of right now? Like I'm just gonna dump things based on like the score, which is what I've been doing. But other than that, it's a co-op game. We're playing together. There's some good chuckles. There is some decent chuckles. Besides the wacky.
Oh, they're very much. We went into that forest. We out there fighting all the Murphs. We were killing all the Murphs.
Yes,
not Smurfs, but Murphs.
But it's one of those things where it's like if you kind of are okay with the art style, and you kind of like their jokes, you gotta like their specific brand of jokes, and you'll dig it. But it is typical Borderlands, which I thought it was going to be more like an over-the-top RPG. I was a little concerned because I didn't want to play that. I wanted to make sure it was still a first-person shooter, and it still is, but you have some magical spells. You got some kind of like pets that are hanging around, and it's a dungeon master story, right? It's Dungeons and Dragons. It's Dungeons and Dragons done by Borderlands. Right?
Yeah, so you're right in the middle of doing a mission and something's coming at you, and like somebody in the game complains about what's coming at you, and then suddenly Tiny Tina's like, "All right, fine, that's not what happened."
Yeah, so I kind of dig that.
I
kind of dig that, right? And there's even like one mission we were on yesterday that we were playing, and the guy's like, all right, how far is this going? Like, where you want us to go across the map? And then Tiny Tina's like, all right, you don't have to do all that, you know? And so it's kind of, it's cool in that sense, right? Where I'm sure you, Dalan, you got your own, like, Dungeons and Dragons game going on, right? I'm sure you guys deal with that too, right? Where you're like, all right, you guys got to go here. And they're like, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to
Yes,
go to that.
I have had that issue a few times so far.
All right, so that's another episode in the can. Salient Points number 75. We gave you a slightly longer episode, but I still feel like we kept it reasonable for how long we were away, the hiatus. Salient Points number 75. I'm Carlos Macias, the host of this here fine program. Dalan Kirkwood from Up in the Mountains. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Flailing my arms.
Those are your arguments, dude. Every single argument you made today, you were waving off hard. Luis Mendez on the wheels of steel. Thank you for joining us, sir.
You already know.
And remember, comment, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Especially if you're hitting up Dalan. Especially if you're hitting up Dalan. You know. So there you go. Latest.